Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama. Hare Krishna. Gopal Radhe Prabhu, so we can start?
Yes, Prabhu.
Okay, thank you. I send you an article for the japa 10 minutes.
Yes, Prabhu. I'll prepare that also.
Okay, thank you so much. Hare Krishna, I'd like to welcome to internet audience. I'm sorry the Facebook will be on in few minutes. Gaura Chand had a little problem, so it's a little late. Something beyond our control, which is normal in the material world. Even the pure devotee face those obstacles. For some reason, Krishna keeps them enthusiastic, so we should remain enthusiastic also. But the Zoom connection is on. Gopal Radhe Prabhu put it on.
And it's also on YouTube, Prabhu, if they want.
Oh, also is in YouTube. What is the name, Prabhu?
You can just, you want me to send the link? Where should I send the link?
If you can put it on my Facebook, probably they'll be.
Okay.
They can see it better, probably.
Okay.
You can just, you can post it now on my.
I won't be able to post it on yours.
You can tag it.
Okay, let's see. Let's see, yes.
You can tag it. So with the blessing of our Guru Gauranga, Srila Prabhupada especially, Bhaktivinoda Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and our dear Rupa Goswami Pad, and all the well-wisher and senior Vaishnavi of Krishna consciousness movement. We began where we ended last week about jivas. So there is a three parts of the living entity. One part is what is the truth about the jiva, tattva, where their origin and what type of shakti is that. And we discussed that the jivas are not product of chit shakti, antaranga shakti. They are not manifestation of antaranga shakti or internal potency. They are not product of bahiranga shakti or external energy. They are from their own shakti. Krishna has a unique, each shakti is directly connected with him, but the jiva shakti is also from jiva shakti. And the reason where jiva shakti manifested is called tatastha region. We discussed that last week. And also we discussed that jiva shakti, when manifested in the tatastha region, that time it is not fully under internal potency. It was a privilege given which way they look at and get attracted. Those who looked at spiritual world, they went through that spiritual realm and they are under internal potency. Those who misuse the free will, because our utilizing free will means serving Krishna. We are eternal servant. Misuse means when the idea of not serving God comes. So misuse is already there within the free will. It's a built-in. So then those who looked at towards the material nature and got allure activities by the material nature, and they are towards the material nature, they enjoying the material sense gratification, and how they got possessed by Maya, that is the discussion today. And hopefully tomorrow we'll discuss how they are free from Maya. So possession by Maya, few things to be refreshed before we start. The movement of Srila Prabhupada, Rupa Goswami and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is more of heart than of intellect. We should always consider this. Intellect must not check the free flow of the heart. This is coming from this sloka, the famous sloka definition of Shraddha, faith. Shraddha tu anna upaya varjanam bhakti unmukhi chitta, chitta vritti vishesha. Chitta vritti is the function of the heart is bhakti, and Krishna consciousness movement is distributing bhakti. We are not interested, we understand the karma, gyan, yoga, etc. We must understand, but we are not performing any of this. We are solely performing pure bhakti, period. And the pure bhakti is the function of the heart. Free love, Prabhupada says, free faith are the only things, the most valuable thing for which we have come out of our own house, own material comfort zone, and join this Krishna consciousness movement, mission of Prabhupada. This purity of purpose should always be kept intact. We must promote vitality. The real spirit, the real purpose of the mission should be given firsthand. I'm talking to myself also, because we sometimes get diverted. We just hang around, have a comfortable life with the material nature. An analogy is given. The real spirit, the real purpose of the mission should be given firsthand. Lenient dealings are necessary amongst you. It is said, in common, even in Bengal, they say, if the tongue is cut by the tooth, I don't know if it ever happened to you, but it happened to me a few times, not too many, that my tongue got bitten by two teeth of my own by mistake, like chewing something or biting something, ouch, then I bit the tongue. If the tongue is cut by the tooth, should I pull the tooth out? You are one organic whole. Your dealings should not be that the forgiveness of love is forgotten. The giving of love will conquer more than the giving of law. What is the need of so much formality and fashion when ultimately we are all servant of the Supreme Lord Sri Krishna? So the advanced devotee faces two things. When we are advancing, you can relate. I'm just giving little introduction of what will be the discussion. When we advance in Krishna consciousness, we faces two things. The first, we have a partiality. I like this Prabhu, I like this group, means I do not also give preference or other group within the society. And this relationship, it's a natural, you can say, also more attractive to me or to anybody who wants to advance. The second danger is deviation. The deviation and partiality, these two things can take down the advancing devotee. So we have to be very careful. That's why Prabhupada said we have to cooperate and maintain a respect to all the devotees, all the seniors. It's very hard, it's not easy, but it is possible. If it was not possible, Prabhupada would not say that. The potentiality to respect and cooperate with all, it is there in his instruction. He wants us, means we should act on it, and it will be possible. So I hope you all got the answer of the heart satisfactory question. Like Sanatana Goswami, even though he studied Srimad Bhagavatam, even Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in a form of Brahmana gave him the Bhagavatam. But when he came to meet Mahaprabhu, he escaped from the jail. You all know that story from the Nawab Hussain Shah put him in jail, even though he was a minister, because he didn't like him to become a devotee. He was a Muslim king. But anyway, Sanatana Goswami, the whole episode, how he escaped. When he met him in Benares, he folded hand, he says, Ke ami, kene amai jare tapat troy. Now, if you put a logic, he said, why did he ask that? He already studied Bhagavatam. He knew who he is. Why this question? Why the suffering? Why are this suffering coming from? This is the sign of humility. When you meet advanced devotees, don't show your pride, knowledge. We are not in a war of ego. Because the winner in the war of ego is the biggest loser. So devotee purposely avoid. They always take shelter of humility. Humility means proper respecting to the other Vaishnavas. Inquire, discuss about Krishna, how it will nourish our bhakti. Prabhupada quoted this famous verse after saying that this Krishna consciousness movement, even though Srila Prabhupada founded this, but he says it is under the supervision of Srila Rupa Goswami Pada. Atha Sri Krishna Namadi Navavet Grajjam Indiye Shebonmukhi Jibbado Swayame Bospurati Ada. The kind of serving spirit we find there is accountable and inconceivable. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came with that quality of adherence to the truth. Unconditional surrender. He came seeking that fortune of serving the truth. If we can seek such higher type of existence, if we can ask within to ourselves, if we can seek such higher types of existence, we may consider ourselves most fortunate. Self-surrender is the very basis of our appreciation for any higher thing is shown by the degree of our surrender to that. This is the bottom line. You know, the one sloka in Bhagavad Gita Prabhupada quoted the most. Can you guess what sloka it is? Sarva dharman parityajya. He quoted according to Veda base. We searched one time. Prabhupada quoted the most. So it's so relevant. He wanted to push that. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur laid 90% stress on developing a service attitude for preaching. Prabhupada said preaching means you are confronting Maya. We have to cross the Maya. Our conviction, determination will take us, but how? Through the connection, not the conviction itself. As we discussed, bhakti does not sustain on mental emotion or tribulation. It's on conviction, but that conviction has to come from the inner connection. That is important. So with that spirit, whatever our position may be, your senses are not to be rejected. If you can give up the spirit of exploitation and renunciation, then your senses will have their fulfillment with Krishna. Those tendencies bar your approach to Krishna. To properly approach Krishna, you will have to utilize your senses to the full extent. Abhigyan Prabhu is here. You come in the front. Okay, you could take it. It's okay. So other day, last week, we discussed about what are the essential key point we had. So I'm going to narrate this, that who am I? Same question. Now, I can, well, at least from that discussion, I can say, I can understand myself to be simply an atom of light. জীবেরও স্বরূপ হয় কৃষ্ণেরও নিত্য দাস কৃষ্ণের তটস্থ শক্তি বেদা অবেদ প্রকাশ সূর্যাংশ কিরণ জ্বলছে this verse is very important সূর্যাংশ কিরণ জ্বলছে অগ্নি জ্বালা ছয় স্বাভাবিকই কৃষ্ণের তিন प्रकार शक्ति है तीन प्रकार मालूम है ना हिंदी में बांग्ला एक ही है तीन प्रकार 3 types so we have to remember this that although atomic by nature I have my own inherent value this is I beg all of you to remember this that 6 things we discuss that about yourself and then hopefully end of the day or tomorrow we're going to say 11 things that every soul upon liberation the second transformation you will have 11 things 10 and 1 11 so 6 things that we taken from last week discussion one is we must understand myself to be simply an atom of a light in the effulgent ray of spiritual sun, Sri Krishna. Second, although atomic by nature, tiny, I have my own inherent value, purpose, knowledge. Okay? Even though tiny, atomic, but I have my own inherent value. I'm valuable in relation to Krishna. He created me. It has a value and it has a purpose. I have a knowledge, I have a purpose, I have a value. These 3 things together one. Third is I have a drop of spiritual bliss. Bindu Chidgata Ananda. We all have, every soul has. Today even in the class we discussed in Alacha that Sanatan Goswami Pad writes in 10.14.7, if you look at in Bhagavatam purport, very nice, that each soul, Krishna has given a particular quality to Gopal Radhe Prabhu, to Mother Vishnu Priya, to Sarvatarak Prabhu, to Gorachand Prabhu, to Abhigyan Prabhu, to me. Never you will find another soul has the same thing. Same relation with Krishna. No. A particular, each soul has a relationship with particular character, particular, these 11 things we'll discuss either tomorrow or end of the today, if we can finish it. That it is important to focus because I have a relationship with Krishna, but what is that? This is the description. So 6 things from last week we understand that myself is the atom of a light, Surya Kiran, but it is a part of Krishna, not part of material nature or part of another Shakti. We are not part of another Shakti or part of material. We are Jiva Shakti belongs to Krishna. We are part of Krishna on that. And then second is that I have, even though I'm atomic by nature, but I have inherent value, purpose, and knowledge. Third, I have a drop of spiritual bliss, Bindu Chidgata Ananda. 3. 4. My Swarup, I have each soul has a Swarup, original form. How it looks like? Even though form is atomic, it's like Sri Krishna's human form like. In Chaitanya Charitamrita, there's a famous verse. Explain this. Krishna Rajataka Khela Sarvattama Nara Lila Nara Babu Tahar Swarup Gopu Beshabenukar Navakishor Natavar Nara Lila Hoy Anurup Srila Radha Govinda Maharaj. Actually, I learned this from him about 15 years back or 18 years back. We were conversing. He said, oh, it is there in Chaitanya Charitamrita. The original form, first form of Supreme Absolute Truth. Not Krishna taking birth. Not Krishna playing with the coward boys. He's playing a flute next to Srimati Radharani with the Gopa bass. This is original form of Govindam. And each soul has a particular form similar to that form in relation to Krishna through service. And the next is my Swarup, even though it's like a form of the Supreme Lord, I cannot see this form. That is my misfortune. You follow? Number 5 is that I have a spiritual form, but I cannot see it. That is my misfortune. Only an extremely fortunate soul can realize it. So what is our goal? We want to realize that form and relationship with the Lord. Then material nature is over. Number 6, it is important that I understand very clearly why I am suffering in this unfortunate condition. So with that note, we're going to refresh. The Jiva manifests from who? Krishna. But Krishna's expansion, the Tadastha is Balaram. Balaram expansion is Mahashankarshan. Where is the proof? Adi Lila, chapter 5, text 45. Jiva nama Tadasthaka eka shakti hai, Mahashankarshan sarva jivera ashray. And Srila Prabhupada translate that there is a one marginal potency known as Jiva. Mahashankarshan is the shelter of all Jiva. So we come from there now. Innumerable jivas appears from Shri Baladev Prabhu to serve Vrindavan, Krishna. Also, unlimited also manifestation of Srimati Radharani's who are in eternal abode. They are serving to Radha Krishna or Krishna in their relationship eternally there. Never even had experience of the material nature. And then we also discussed that those who are manifested in the spiritual world and serving Krishna eternally, Nitya Siddha, how they have no idea sometime about this material nature. And even if they hear the material nature, they don't react like the way we are reacting, because they hear it. So there's a famous verse in 10th canto, 11th chapter, 58. Iti nanda dayo gopa Krishna Rama katham muda urbanti Rama manascha navinda bhavavedana. That when Nanda Maharaj was interviewed by the sages, by the sannyasis visitors, that you need to worry about your future life. He said, no. Our whole future life, our whole existence, we never had any problem so long my son is there with me. So what about end of your life? You have to go back home. He said, yes, we'll go wherever my son goes. So some sannyasi thinks they're like too attached to their son. So Sanatana Goswami says that some sannyasi are not aware that that is supreme absolute truth. Supreme destiny is that son. But they're not thinking like this. Supreme destiny is our son. And they are thinking that our son is the supreme destiny. Whether he is God or not God, they are not interested. So sometimes they get bewildered. And this is the situation of eternal associate. You follow? They don't care. They are so much in love with Krishna, they don't care what will happen when they die. They only care wherever Krishna going, we're going there. And that verse prove it. So there's a question may arise. The marginal position is situated in Tadastha Swabhav junction. I'm just re-catching with that. I think we discussed, or maybe we didn't discuss. The junction, that spiritual and material world in between. Why is that some living entity goes to the material world and some goes to the spiritual world? And we discussed that. That we are part of Krishna means a minute special quality that Krishna has is called independence. Free will. That is minute scale within us. So utilizing the free will and not utilizing or misuse the free will is eternally with us. You follow? Of course, in the spiritual world, they're not seeing Maya, so there's no chance of coming there down. But those who are in the marginal status, they choose misuse the free will, and they are here. So then question raised that Krishna is Karunamay, merciful, full of mercy. Why did he make the living entity so weak that he becomes entangled in Maya? This question may come. भगवान थोड़ा अच्छा तरफ से बना हुआ तो प्रॉब्लम नहीं था, माया को साथ युद्ध कर सकता है. Sorry, I'm talking. Yes. So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur also reply that it is true Krishna is Karunamay, merciful, overflowing with mercy. However, he is also Leelamay. Means every soul is a part of the Leela right now in Krishna's Leela. That we are taking all this struggle, and when we come back to home to Krishna, we're going to tell him what a horrible nightmare I had. And Krishna will be enjoying it. And Krishna will give you a comfort that you will feel so overwhelmed. Will you do it again? For Krishna, I'll do anything. You will think like that. And this is the beauty. If any suffering ends with the highest pleasure, is it really suffering? That's a good way to think. And this is what Bhaktivinoda Thakur proposition is. That Krishna made the living entity eligible for what condition? Every condition. From the lowest to the highest Mahabhav. Mahabhav only Radharani experience. But Mahaprabhu is giving that living entity even can come in a Radha Daishyam, the maid servant of Radharani. What Radharani is relishing, the partial closeness, they will be able to. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that from the lowest region to the highest Mahabhav, this facility is there. So we should grab it. We should grab the Krishna consciousness and try as fast with safety. Because if you do little mistake, when you go in a high speed, Radhanath Maharaj mentioned one time, when you go in a high speed, you little mistake of your steering wheel can crash. And that crash is not an ordinary crash. It can really kill. But when you're going 5 miles, 10 miles an hour, little steering mistake, it's okay. It's not going to be completely crash. I mean, it's bad, but maybe not as dangerous as when you're going 100 miles an hour. Little, oh, it's just hit it. So similarly, when we are speeding in spiritual path, humility has to be the safest. Then you can drive very fast. No humility, it can literally knock you out. Offense. Oh my God, he was going 100 miles an hour. Now he's not even chanting. What happened to him? Just a little off track. So when we're going in a high speed, we have to be careful with the steering, that we focus, no falling asleep. Similar logic. Then question, Bhaktivinoda Thakur also wrote that question, we must, why then Jiva should suffer for the sake of Bhagavan's pastimes? And Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentioned that when Jiva can see where he is heading with this experience of material suffering, because at one point when suffering is intensified, you know what happened? I don't know if it ever happened to you. I went through one time, I won't say the whole details, but I went through a nightmare suffering. And I used to go in the car and close the window and just yell and scream to Krishna, which is not a good idea, don't do it. But good thing was that it was Krishna, not mundane people. Because any relation with Krishna connection, it eventually benefits. And of course, I apologize after 2 years. Because everything is over. It looked like a movie I went through. I had to watch a movie of Pran Govinda Das. So the thought that came in me, the depth of my thinking and the depth of this Krishna conscious philosophy realization, that I would probably never get it if I didn't have that suffering. Now, I'm not wishing you to have suffering, but without that suffering, I would never even think very deeply. I even had a doubt on the philosophy. I had a doubt on personality. I had a lot of doubts. By the mercy of Prabhupada and all these Vaishnavas, and of course my endeavor also with it, I cannot just say I didn't do anything. No, I did. I'm trying for mercy and they are giving mercy. This combination, Kripa and Chesta, that remove, I would say 99.9% almost. You can never say 100%, I guess. I don't know. But I feel, so was it worth it? Yes. Suffering is therefore just as a sign of Bhagavan's mercy. I am convinced. That is why far-sighted people see the suffering of living entity in Krishna's pastime as auspicious. Though the nearsighted can only see its inauspicious source of misery. Then question also came that if living entity suffering in his conditioned state is ultimately auspicious, but in the present state is very painful. Since Krishna is omnipotent, couldn't he think of a less troubled path? That's a good way of going round and round and round to cover it. And it is true. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur, I'm just paraphrasing, he's also said Krishna Lila is extremely wonderful, of many varieties. This is also one of them. That you are born in Bangladesh or India or here, there, and you came to America and then you became a devotee, like you, right? It happened. I mean, it's really, like if you look it through, and then you feel like, oh, I should have advanced earlier. Why so late? So this regret push you, actually bring you closer, which is good. So if Bhagavan is independent and almighty, performance all kind of pastime, why should this be only pastime that he neglects? The soul goes through this route to come back. Why we should not think this is normal? It is normal. You follow? God is good. Even in America, they say God is good. Then everything he does is good. I may not be able to see it with my material view, but if we can accept it, ultimately we'll see. So no pastime can be rejected if there is to be not full of variety. Beside the participant in other types of pastimes also must accept some sort of suffering. When somebody is a controller in the family life and other feel happy, but sometimes they may feel little because the one person is controlling and Krishna is eternally the controller. But ultimately, if you see that controller, the reason was controlling for my ultimate happiness, then is it really a suffering? I saw a child, he wants to cross the road. And his mother said, no, I want to go. And mother said, no. And they went back and forth. Then mother slapped. Now you may say this child is suffering now. Is it really suffering compared to the crossing the road and truck hits him? But child cannot see that danger. You follow? So you may say the controlling mother is the cause of this child suffering. Is it really? But when the child grown up, you say, oh, mother, thank you for protecting me. Otherwise, I could have crashed, broke my arm whole life. Right? So similarly, it is natural to experience some suffering when one is controlled by the desire of the agent. However, this is very important. We should always have an appreciation, grateful attitude towards Krishna. If that suffering brings pleasure in the end, it is not true suffering. Yes? Good. How can you tell it's suffering? So the so-called suffering that one undergoes in order to nourish and support Krishna's pastime is actually a source of delight. The jiva's independent desire, this is very important, has caused him to abandon the pleasure of serving Krishna. But then if he did not give independent desire, Then what? Instead, accept suffering in Maya. This is Jiva's fault, not Krishna's. He chose to look at this side and misuse his free will. Then another question raised that what harm would be there if the living entity had not been given independence or free will? Krishna is omniscient. He knows past, present, future. Samatitani. What is that? Vedaham samatitani vartamanani cha arjuna bhavishyani cha bhutani mantu vedana kashana. Krishna says, I know. He's omniscient. He knows past, present, future. In Bhagavad Gita 7:26, he revealed. So he gave this independence to the living entity, even though he knew what happened here. Let me fix this. He knew that they would suffer on account of it. Krishna knew that misusing of free will cause suffering. So is it he responsible for the living entities suffering? That question again came. In every angle, they're trying to find a way to blame somebody for my suffering. So independence is a precious jewel, in the absence of which inert objects are insignificant. Would you care for what happened to this piece of wood after 10 years? No. But if there was a puppy, dog, or a child or anything, you would care. Oh, this piece of wood we're stepping on one time. What happened after 10 years? Let's go and find out. No, we don't. Because it's inert, has no feeling, has no free will. Means this consciousness means feeling, awareness, thinking. So similarly, we have to value this independence. The jiva is an atomic, that is true, spiritual entity. So he must certainly have all the qualities of spiritual object. The only difference is that Bhagavan, who is complete spiritual object, Maya Disha Maya Vasha Ishwar Jiva Bhed. He is controller of the Maya, whereas Jiva, due to his minuteness, is prone to be captured by Maya. The independent Jiva is a beloved servant of Krishna, and thus Krishna is kind and compassionate towards him. Believe me, when Krishna does not, even in 3rd chapter Adi Lila, it says when Krishna doesn't see that they are coming, because Krishna cannot force them. Krishna is facilitating them, but cannot force. You follow? So then Krishna feels actually suffering because he loves his children, but he doesn't want to force them to come back. They have to come back on their own. Just like you ever saw a parents making a child walk, and after 1-2 step, baby fell and cry. Now, if you put a logic, give up, just give up, leave the baby on the crib. He doesn't need. Whole life he can stay in the crib. Will you agree? No, because the baby wants to walk. Also, the parents wants them to walk and play, not whole life stay in the crib. So similarly, Krishna put each of us in this atmosphere. Okay, you fell, get up and keep on walking. Krishna will encourage us, but Krishna will not stop us not to learn how to walk. So similarly, we have to learn. His Achinta Lila in the material world, thinking that his appearance will enable the living entity to see his nectarian pastimes. However, living entity does not understand. That is a fact. Krishna Lila. Even after showering so many pastimes you hear, still you don't feel attracted. Then what happened? Krishna again comes in Navadvip as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and teaching how to see that Krishna Lila. So Krishna never gave up his affection, care, protection for us. He never gave up. It is our misfortune that we don't feel to come closer and get attracted. Then question come, why did he create the Maya? Is Maya Shakti is the cause of our misfortune then? Would the Jiva have had to suffer like this if the omnipotent, omniscient Sri Krishna had kept Maya far away from us or from the living entity? No. Maya is a reflected transformation. Chaye vajasya bhuvanani vibhorti durga. Chaye vajasya bhuvanani vibhorti durga. Maya is a reflected transformation of Krishna's internal potency, Swarup Shakti. It is like a Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, fiery furnace, where the living entity who are not qualified for Krishna's service are chastised, made fit for the spiritual world. Maya is Krishna's maid servant. In order to purify the living entity to have turned against Krishna, she punishes them, gives appropriate therapy, purifies them. Infinitesimal living entity has forgotten that he is the eternal servant of Krishna. For this offense, Maya taking the form of a Pishachi. Jeev jago, Gora Chanda bole, Koto nidra jao Maya. Then Pishachi rakole. Maya in the form of Pishachi. You know Pishachi? Bloodsucker, witch. But everybody is happy, looks like. They like material sense gratification. They say, but it's a bloodsucker. Pishachi. So what a Bhaktivinoda Thakur name. Maya has a two form, Joni and Pishachi. Punishes him. This material world is like a jail. Maya is the jailer who imprisons this strange living being and punishes them. It's like a Jagadananda Pandit gave an example. A king constructs a prison for the benefit of his subject. And in the same way, Bhagavan has shown him immense mercy towards the living being by making this prison-like material world and appointing Maya as a custodian. Now, I don't know if you know, there is a prison house here. From here, it's about what, 20 miles? The Stark, the famous prison house. You ever heard, Gautam? There's just a big prison house. Now, I investigated the superintendent. We used to go Saturday for preaching. And the superintendent says that, that the government never advertised that, hey, I built a prison house, come and stay here. You'll never see government ever advertise. But then question, why government build the prison house? Tell me. If they never advertise, because they know some human being will commit crime. There is no billboard anywhere that come to the prison. No. But then why they built? Why government built? They built it before criminal is found, because they know. Similarly, Krishna uses this material world. He made it that there will be some soul misuse free will and come here to go to that route to come back. Now, Prabhupada gave another example. I'm going to give another example. I remember I had a talk with Harishori Prabhu one time. Prabhupada said, just imagine the analogy. There is a furnace fire, or say stove, oven. No, say, wooden fire. And there's a little child. And mother telling the child, I'm busy in the kitchen, don't touch the fire. Prabhupada gives this analogy. But she also has a medicine cabinet. If the child get burned, blister or something, to put the medicine. So what is going on in this episode? Where is Krishna? So then devotee asked Prabhupada, why the medicine is there? If mother doesn't want the child to touch the fire, why the medicine is there? He is going to try and she may miss protecting. Because you cannot force a child lock up in a room to not to touch fire. No, you have to give the freedom, but you have to train the child that touching fire is dangerous. Sometimes the child runs towards the fire to touch it, about to touch, and mother come and give a big slap. Oh, now the child was fine. Now the child is crying. So who should we blame? Maya? Or no? The mother should be blamed? No? Well, she made the child cry. He was not crying before. He was about to touch the fire, that's all. Ah, because Maya knows that we're going to suffer more, so she's keeping us by little suffering in a line that, oh, come on, look at back, look at your master, look at master. He cannot force, but she is kind of that mother. Now, if you say, why Krishna has the medicine in the medicine cabinet? Because misuse of free will, Krishna knows that it will happen. The child, maybe mother is cooking and cannot come out, all of a sudden the like now a blister all over. So medicine is required. So this good example Prabhupada gave, that free will, we should appreciate the value of free will. We should appreciate the value of free will. Then the question comes, how can the shackles of Maya bind the atomic conscious living entity? Oh, sorry. The question actually was raised that if Maya is actually putting the soul in a prison, it also requires some suitable shackles. You know, in India, prison, here you have a, what keeps the prisoner in the jail? The bar, you follow? It's the same idea. In India, they had a shackle. They chain you up on your hand and leg so you don't move. Here you have a bar, lock up. Nobody can come out. So then what kind of shackle we should know? Believe or not, those who are in the prison, in the material world, they don't even know about it. They have no idea that they are in the prison. Why? Because they became inmate. You know what is the problem with inmate? They forgot the purpose of coming to the material world for correction. They forgot. They like it. Ah, it's nice. Prison is not made for liking. But it is fact. In America, I really asked that person, and what's his name? I won't say the name. There's one actually person, the Melba's son. I went to pick him up one time, and he was in prison for 3 months. And he came out, now he went back again because he has this bad habit. Anyway, but I learned so many things through him. He was there 3 months and he taught me that what they do, what kind of restriction they have. They have a terrible abuse. Anyway, today is not the discussion of that. But how can the shackle, now question is, we are conscious being, how this material matter shackles binds the atomic spirit conscious living being, jiva. How? We are conscious being. But how the matter can tie up? How we are buried under this gross and subtle body? Objects of the material world cannot be touched, spiritual object. That is true. However, as soon as the living entity develops the conception that he is an enjoyer of Maya, you have to think like this. I am an enjoyer of Maya. His atomic spiritual form is immediately covered by another Pran Govinda Das called Mr. F ego, false ego. And he says, okay, here is my birthday. The birthday of false ego when the living entity wants to enjoy. The moment the false ego appears and it covers him. So spiritual form is covered by the subtle body made of false ego. This is how the shackles of Maya binds his leg. The living entity having a Sattic ego. Now let me give you an analogy. Those who are listening online, if you can answer it, you can unmute and tell me. Did you choose when you come which modes of material nature you want to be under? Or actually Maya forces you to be under particular modes? Anybody knows? 1, 2, 3. No. Okay. Actually, you choose. Material nature never forces you. So to demonstrate this, I'll give you an example of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur gives. He said that when the material nature actually brought the prisoner, so he gives an example. The king says, okay, you have a three choice. You can be 50 years in jail, and the criminal is thinking 50 years, I'll be dead. I don't want to stay whole life in the jail. Okay, then you have a choice of getting 50 lashes, heavy duty beating with those chabuk, 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 in Hindi, whipping stick, whips. So 50 years in jail, or 50 whips, or 5 kilo ghee. And the criminal said, ghee, of course, I'll take that one. That's Sattaguru. So, but he has no idea what he just taken a bow. After 1 kilo, he's feeling throw up. But the jail attendees, the military force, forced him, open his mouth and started pouring in. And he's like throwing up, no. You can drink little ghee, but not 1 kilo. 2 kilo, he's like completely fainted. He said, okay, what do you want to do? You have 2 more choices. He said, I can't take 50 years in jail. I'll just take the whips. Okay. He got it, 1 whips, 2 whips, 3. Oh. After 5, no, I can't. Oh my God, the blood is coming out. He said, okay, you have only 1 choice left, 50 years in jail. So what did you go through? All 3. All 3 modes of materialization. Why? Because he cannot think. Instead of taking shelter on Krishna, he was depending on his own. I am damn right. People think like this. I know what is good for me. I know what is bad for me. I can figure it out. I don't need anybody's help. This is a wrong idea in the material world. Now, question is how this conscious being act in this world. They do by karma. Karma means, so long, everybody should remember, karma means so long I have an interest to enjoy separately from Krishna. That is karma. Karma means what? So long I have a separate interest from Krishna. It is karma, whatever it is. Karma is not like according to Shastra only, but so long I have a desire to enjoy. You can follow the same Shastra, but if it is not your enjoyment, Krishna is the object of enjoyment, then it is not karma. So this is very important. Initially, living entity perform karma to provide himself with the desired sense pleasure in accordance with his material propensities. Then he performs karma activities to try dispel his miseries. It's natural that result from being bound by the shackles of Maya. So then question is how the karma began when we came to this world. Well, the covering of the gross material body has 6 stages. Birth, little growing, young man, reproductive, dwindle, death. These 6 transformations are the inherent attributes of the gross body. Gross body is standing on 2 legs. What are those? No. Tribulation and what do you think? Limitation. You cannot escape from this two existence. Not the two leg like physical. I mean, these two. Tribulation and limitation. It's like you have a good time, but it ran out. Bad time, now come again. It's like nothing you can get. It's like always so tough. So what happened? He engages in various activities, karma, that are born from material desire. And he tried to fulfill those desires. Then when obstacle comes, then he find a way, solution. What's the purpose of the karma? Two things. Can you remember purpose of the karma? Increase the happiness. And what happiness you have? Defend it. Okay, I have a $1 million. Don't let it lose. It's a private account. And second thing, increase it more, become 2 million. Two purpose, nothing else. You follow? Whatever it is. Okay, I'm enjoying with my wife or husband very nicely. Let it make it more. Buy a, you know, whatever, like they go on. Fascination. We should go to Disneyland where we can enjoy better. Like that. And they want to not only increase, they want to protect also. Oh no, he got sick. She got sick. Oh no, we have to get out of the sickness because enjoyment is hampered when you're sick. So these two are constantly battling and they're trying to like, this is the two purpose of most 99% karma in this world. That's all they're busy. Retirement, saving for future, maintaining the steady happiness or grow it and protect it. Question come, is there other form of karma also? Yes. Jiva is situated in a gross body, undergoes immense suffering due to the deficiency of the gross body. He performs various types of karma in an attempt to minimize these miseries. What does he do? If there is a litigation, he goes to doctor, lawyer to fight against, doctor if his health is like always like something he's like a surrounded by, he needs supply. He indulges in many sinful activities, fighting, enviousness, stealing, other misdemeanor. And then what happened? Eventually he's covered by these 6 urges. What is it? Lust, greed, anger, madness, illusion, envy. Kama, krodha, lobha, moha, madha, matsarya is very important. Then question comes, is the living entity's purpose have been served with the gross body? Why does he need subtle body for? Why do we need mind and intelligence and false ego? Physical body is not enough? Or physical body is enough, then why you need subtle body? Or if subtle body is enough, why you need physical body? This question generally comes. The gross body is also necessary because the subtle body cannot perform work. We should remember that. Desire develops not in the physical body, in the subtle body. See, there's an interlink. And because of the activities that the living entity perform in his gross body, the living entity receive another gross body that's suitable to fulfill this desire. And Prabhupada gives an example that how a minister, every woman he saw, he wanted to enjoy her company bodily. So then he, in a one form, he can do it as a pig. So how the minister who was enjoying the cake going to be a pig is very hard. Try to understand this very scientifically. It is not a, like I heard this many times, I still enjoy it because that, you know, give me where I come from and where I'm going to go and how the horrible this material whole creation process. So Prabhupada gives an example that the minister are put into a one room where he has a special body that he is feeling the extreme pain of hunger. He's dead, human body. Now he is taken to another body, but the subtle body carries the desire to enjoy all the women. So he is given in a room where he is starved to death, but he won't die. The body is like this, it will keep him going. And he's like screaming, crying, but nothing comes. After a month, little piece of stool is thrown through the window. And he's like, oh, because he remembers he was a minister. Stool is like something you flush out. You don't smell it. And but he's like, oh, this is horrible, terrible. He has memory, but there's no food for months. And finally touch it. Oh, touch it. He's thinking to bring it close, but he can't accomplish. It's very hard because he used to eat ice cream and cake. Finally, he closed his nose and put it in the mouth, and he tasted, wow, at least I feel better. The moment he feels little better, and then the more stool came, and that's it, he's qualified. And then the soul from that to go through that process, that's called hell. So is it hell is a mercy or punishment? Which one? What do you think? It is a mercy, because the soul wants to enjoy. So in a pig body, he can enjoy with his mother, with his daughter, with his sister. There is no morality in pig's life. That's why even in Muslim religion or Jewish religion, they condemn pig eating, because it's the lowest consciousness body. And so the hell is created for that. Is the hell merciful or painful? It is merciful to fulfill the desire he wanted. If he didn't have the desire, Krishna didn't want to force him. Krishna just providing. Go through and see where you're going. There's another purpose why also Krishna created the hell. Some souls are so rebellious, they don't want to surrender. So when they don't want to surrender, they glide down. They glide down, down, down to a one point where they say, enough is enough. I can't take it anymore. Is there anybody to help? Just for them to ask for help from God, hell was required. If there was no hell, he would not come to that point to ask for help. So hell is the creation of hell is actually mercy. Can you see that? Good. See, both reasons Prabhupada said why hell was created. This is in 3rd canto, 20 chapter Bhagavatam. Those who are interested, you can read. Now another question comes. What is the connection between karma and its fruit? According to Mimamsa school of Gemini, Ishvara, the controller, awards the fruit of karma, because he is not only an imaginary object. The followers of that school say performing karma produce a tattva called apurva. Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes that this apurva gives a fruit to all karma. Is this true? Now, you saw that in Bhagavad Gita, we have this picture of the two birds. One bird is eating and one bird is just observing. You saw that picture? And there are a few sloka. One sloka is, I always remember that sloka. Da suparna sayuddha sakhaya samana vriksham parishasya jate tayoranna pipallam saddhyata anashanna anno vichikshi. That, yes, Shirodakshi Vishnu, the super soul and living entity residing in the temporary body, like two birds in a peepal tree. Of those two birds, one is living entity, tastes the fruit, and other watching. Now, as soon he turns at one point towards the other bird who is not eating, super soul, then all his problem is over. Question is when? That's a very good question, no? When? So there is a sixth philosophy. Prabhupada suggested that everybody should understand. This sixth philosophy is very important. That one who understands this sixth philosophy, they will not be bewildered. And even Prabhupada goes further. If you have Bhagavatam 117, Srimad Bhagavatam 1.1.7, Prabhupada writes even that one cannot sit on the Beshasan, one can sit on the Beshasan only after being conversant in all system of philosophy. Gautama, Kanara, Kapila, Patanjali, Jaimini, Astabhakra. so that one can present fully the theistic view of the Bhagavatam in define of all systems. In order to speak on Bhagavatam, you have to be fully conversant in all 6 philosophies. What is the speaking Bhagavatam means? Speaking Bhagavatam means you glorifying Krishna and you are also challenging with Maya. How do you know you have bhakti or not? How do you know? You know only whether you have bhakti or not, only when you are preaching, glorifying Krishna. Prahlad Maharaj has no enemy. Prahlad Maharaj did not have an enemy. As soon as he started glorifying Krishna, his enemy is born. Hiranyakashipu, Prabhupada put that logic. Hiranyakashipu challenged when Prahlad Maharaj was glorifying Krishna. So preaching means prachar bhakti ka dhakka. How much bhakti you have? Do you have a devotion? Go outside and preach. See if you can establish Krishna's supremacy, if you can establish the glory of Guru, glory of Prabhupada, then bhakti is proven that yes, you have bhakti. Harikesh Maharaj told Prabhupada that you gave such a wonderful class today. It's very nice. I love you, Prabhupada. It's very nice class. And Harikesh Prabhu, he lives here in Alachua, Gainesville. So Prabhupada told him, Prabhupada told him that it's good to glorify your Guru in the temple, that's good. But the real glory is when you establish the Guru's position outside. When you confront the Maya, the conditioned soul, you're trying to establish Bhakti's supremacy, superiority of Bhakti, then the opposition that you find, you have to establish Krishna's glory and Prabhupada's position. Then you know you have Bhakti. This is the only way. It's a very nice way Prabhupada established this. So in a short, we must understand all these 6 philosophy before we sit on the Beshasana. What is Beshasana? Prabhupada also explained what is Beshasana. I give you one example. When the Naxalites threatened Prabhupada by telegraph in Calcutta that fly or die. So Prabhupada is also from Calcutta and Naxalite also in Calcutta. So they send a telegraph to Prabhupada, fly or die. Prabhupada took it, that challenge. And he went there. And Pishima was at the front door. And Pishima had a conversation with those young Bengali Mastan, they call, Gunda. So Prabhupada noticed at one point that there's some commotion going on at the entrance. So from far, he said, you have something to say. Why you are making so much noise there? Why don't you come here and talk? And from there, they said in English, get down like this in English. So Prabhupada says that this Beshasana is given by my disciple. Beshasana is not for me or to sit in a higher place. Beshasana means where the audience can hear the best way. The place from where the speaker can speak and the audience can be benefited the most. That is called Beshasana. You follow? So sitting on a Beshasana means where the audience can be benefited, hearing about Krishna. And that is important to understand. So Prabhupada writes that you have to be conversant with these 6 philosophy before you sit on Beshasana. So this is for us, for everybody. We must know. Now, this is not only Prabhupada's word, it is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's word also. In Chaitanya Charitamrita Madhya Lila, 17 chapter 96, I remember that verse, Saradarshan Vaikya Bina Katha Nahi Atha, Mishra Kipa Kori More Sudhan Krishna Katha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Tapan Mishra revealed to Mahaprabhu that in this town, Benaras, Kashi, no talks, only this 6 philosophy. And our acharyas all are very thorough with this 6 philosophy. And we must understand what are those 6 philosophy. So I'm going to just mention in a short, it's 6:10. Maybe we'll take a little break for the japa. Gopal Radhe Prabhu.
Yes, Prabhu.
It's 6:10. We should take a break and then we'll come back and talk about the 6 philosophies. Is that okay?
Yeah. So you want to take a break, like take a break, or you want to do?
Oh, Makhanchan Prabhu is showing me something. 6 system of Vedic philosophy. Very good. You should teach this, Prabhu, to everybody. It is compulsory for at least grasping something. It's important. Very good. Yes, Gopal Radhe Prabhu. You can put that picture.
Okay. The quote.
That you made so kindly, and then you can put the quote.
Oh, okay. Okay.
I asked Makhanchan Prabhu, you should teach that 6 philosophy very nicely.
Okay, I will do that. This
Thank
is
you.
this is by Suhotra Swami.
Yes, I am aware. He wrote it very thorough, very important. Okay, this is a beautiful analogy for today, japa, 1 round japa. This is made by my dearest friend Gopal Radhe Prabhu. We had a little talk. Can everybody see this? It says Supreme Brahman does not stand for the absolute, he is absolute. Because I was listening one Mayavadi topics other day, somebody sent me on my text, WhatsApp. So one Mayavadi is giving that, oh, even Krishna comes to establish who about the Supreme Lord. Krishna doesn't come establishing Supreme Lord. Krishna established himself. He's eternally established. He's not establishing some Supreme Brahman. So here, when we join to Krishna consciousness, there is a 2 conception within us. If you are looking for easy way to get out of the material nature, then you will be imitating or artificially imagining. And that is considered a mirror reflection. Just like a Mayavadis or the Sahajiyas. Sahajiyas, they imagine about Radha Krishna's pastime, and the Mayavadis, they actually do not appreciate at all Krishna's pastime or Krishna's eternal form. Rather, they establish some fantasy about this eternal abode or Brahman. And this is like a mirror. You feel attracted in the mirror, you see the spiritual thing, but when you want to enter inside the mirror, there is nothing. And if you break the mirror, there is no person visible. This is the ultimate destiny. And the other side is the Chaya Namabhas. Chaya Namabhas, Gopal Radhe Prabhu did it very nicely. Chaya Namabhas means when we join, we accept Guru and we accept the holy name, chanting, Japamala, 16 minimum. Then we follow the path. That path, we immediately don't experience the spiritual ecstasy, maybe, not for everybody. Some people may. It depends on their advancement. But those who are following the shadow or Chaya Namabhas, one thing to focus that the shadow is produced by the real substance. And mirror also produced by the real substance. But the mirror does not have a connection with the substance. There's no connection. It's just a reflection. But the shadow can never produce without the connection. So those who are not feeling spiritual ecstasy, but if they follow the shadow, and eventually they will come to the substance or the object of the shadow. And that is spiritual ecstasy, a spiritual world, loving service. So then you will be eternally situated in that abode. So even though in the beginning, Bhaktivinoda Thakur writes, Prabhupada also gave this in his purport, the Chaya Namabhas, the neophyte or new bhakta, when they join, they take initiation, they go on their life. You may not feel completely ecstasy, but keep on going, because as long as you follow the rules, regulation, and pleasing Guru, you will come to the ultimate object of your goal. So with that note, Gopal Radhe Prabhu going to read something we wrote, and then we're going to start chanting for 10 minutes.
We can ask Makancho Prabhu to read.
If you can see it, I can even, anyway, I know it. Can you see it, Prabhu?
I cannot see, the letters are too small. If you expand it, I don't know, I cannot, too little, I cannot read it properly. Oh yeah, now I can read.
Okay, go ahead, Prabhu.
If you chant to please Krishna, you become pleased as well. It is said that if we chant the holy name to receive something material, or with the intention of making material progress, it is an offense to the holy name. The very mood, the very essence, the very meaning that the vibration carries is, I want pure devotional service. When we feel the holy name, we hear it speaking to us, telling us that surrender is the most relishable and desirable position. The holy names, when chanted properly, naturally inspire our desire for pure devotional service. Therefore, if you are chanting the holy names but are not in this mood, you are out of alignment with the holy names. If while chanting you are asking Krishna to fulfill your material desire rather than connect to the pure mood of holy names, this is impure bhakti. For example, Mayavadis use the holy names to merge into the Brahma Jyoti, or Sahajiya use Krishna to fulfill their material desires. We chant the holy name only to enhance our service attitude, to further develop the attitude of unmotivated service, service whose only motivation is to please Krishna. This affirmation is a reminder that when you chant, it's not about trying to make yourself happy. In the beginning, you may not always feel happy when you chant, but if you focus on chanting to please Krishna, you immediately feel different. Many devotees say they have a hard time when they don't feel blissful, and that's undesirable. You should feel blissful, but during those times when you don't, you can think of this affirmation. The mood of japa is not to make yourself feel good. The mood is, this is for Krishna's pleasure. If you don't feel blissful when chanting, if you chant in this mood, you will soon become blissful. If you chant to please Krishna, you become pleased as well. If your chanting becomes mechanical, remember this affirmation, I chant to please Radha and Krishna. You may even wish to imagine Krishna is with you in his holy name, and he is enjoying hearing your chant and also enjoying seeing you becoming purified. He also enjoys seeing your determination to continue to chant enthusiastically. Even when you are not tasting the holy names, he wants to see what you do during these difficult times.
Very good. Thank you. So I'll end with this. You know, when we chant what Krishna accept, how Krishna expect, how we are pleasing, how Krishna is receiving, longing. That we want to please you, we want to please you. That longing, Krishna actually take it. So with that mode we start. Namo Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhutale Simate Bhakti Vedanta Saminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharya Nirvisesha Sunnavadi Paschata Deshatayani. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Sivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vinda. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna. Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Krishna Krishna
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
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 Ram
Hare Ram 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 Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Hare
Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Ram
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Ram Hare
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 Ram
Hare
Ram
Krishna
Ram Ram
Krishna
Hare 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 Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna Krishna Hare Hare
Hare Krishna
Ram Ram Hare 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 Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram
Hare
Hare
Hare Ram
Krishna
Ram Ram Ram
Krishna
Hare 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 Krishna Hare
Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Hare
Krishna
Hare
Hare
Krishna
Hare Hare
Krishna
Ram
Krishna
Ram Ram
Hare
Ram Hare
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 Ram
Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna
Hare
Hare
Ram 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare 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 Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare Hare Krishna Krishna Hare Ram Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare Ram Hare 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 Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Ram, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram. We have 1 minute. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Ram, Hare Ram, नाम प्रभु की जय, वृंदा देवी की जय, हरि नाम प्रभु की जय. Okay. So since Makhanchor Prabhu already shown me a book, I think maybe he can do a one class someday for the audience for this sixth philosophy, but I'll just summarize what I understood from that. I spoke many times about this. This is important to understand how this sixth philosophy has affected us. Wherever we are in the world, doesn't matter. Everybody is affected, either one or two or all those six philosophy, they are everywhere. And Bhagavatam is so wonderful. Bhagavatam Vyasdev, the last scholar, he intertwined all these six philosophy with bhakti in a way that ultimate goal is superiority of bhakti is established. That's why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that's why Prabhupada made this very heavy statement. Can you imagine? One can sit in the Beshashan, Prabhupada writes. Look at it in Bhagavatam 1.1.7 in the purport. Prabhupada writes, one can sit in the Beshashan after is conversant with this sixth philosophy. Means we have to be qualified. We have to understand that why are the superiority of Bhagavatam versus all these six philosophy. So I'll give you in 5 minutes the whole six philosophy in 5 minutes, which is impossible, but I'll make it by the mercy of. So there are six ancient philosophical system of India. The first is the Vaisheshik philosophy, Kanara Rishi, the atomic theory. According to him, of course, the Gautam, some also say the Gautama's logic is also first theory. It's okay, both are mentioned. We are not after who is after who. The atomic theory means, according to him, everything is made of atoms. So many different atoms combines and produce this world. Kana means atomic particle. So many atomic particles have combined and produced the world by chance, with no necessity for any reason, right? Consciousness, nothing of so kind. And the outcome of this combination has produced what we find here. That is the opinion of Kanara in atomic theory. Now, this is my own opinion after I studied for hours or a few days, actually, long time back, that I never saw a pile of bricks after many years became a beautiful temple or a building automatically without architect or engineer. I never saw. So where this idea coming that it's a combination of atoms made this body? It doesn't make sense. This is one. Another one was Dr. James Hull. Anyway, he's a scientist here, but he's a good friend. And he lost his wife. So I remember it was not good for me to say like this, but I was bold with him. I said, how do you think, why you are depressed? He said, well, I lost my wife. I said, she was made of atoms. What's the big deal? It's just the atom disintegrated, now it's just a combination of atom made her. So Govind, this is not a time to joke. I said, you are the one who always only believes everything is made of atom. But there is no answer. Where this feeling coming from? Feeling does not come from atom or atomic structure. so feeling that you are sad, he could not reconcile. So then Bhaktivinoda Thakur, very nicely, 19th century founder of Krishna consciousness movement, sings in one song, Keshava Tava Jagata Vichitra, that, oh my Lord, I see that everything is available in your world, which has infinite, variegated nature, separated from you. However, we are always feeling miseries in this world. A continuous flow of suffering has swallowed from birth till death. We cannot tolerate the pain of misery. And so many relief. Who are they? Kapila, Sankhya philosophy, Patanjali, Yoga philosophy, Gautama, logic or Neo philosophy, Jaimini, karma philosophy, Buddha, the mental systematic dissolving philosophy, are running towards us, offering their solution. But less, Bhaktivinoda Thakur was so bold, and he gave a little, I'm just giving a little antidote of that. There's a whole book about that. Kapila has come with the Sankhya philosophy system of analysis, saying, analyze matter. You will be free from all pain. Patanjali has come with yoga. Hey, you soul or human being, come to meet Paramatma. Then all your problem of the world will go away from you. It looks like they're all coming with a genuine desire to help us. Come in connection with Paramatma. He said, through the yoga, meditation, and everything will be over. Then, of course, Gautama also comes with logic. Come on, live a life with logic. We use this every day. Oh, I don't want to do this. Why? Because of this. Oh, I'll do this. Why? Because of this. We use that. All this philosophy has affected us, and we use it. There's nothing wrong. So these activities are recommended to you. If you go on your karma, this is Jaimini, you will be happy. Some or other stay on the top of the karma pile. This is my slang way of saying. Go to Hawaii and live there. Hawaii is no, come to America first. In America, no, go to Hawaii because that's the better place to live. At least Prabhupada said it's close to heaven or look of it. Prabhupada stayed there for a few days and he liked it. So I always had a idea of Prabhupada said, oh, it's like a heaven, probably is the best place. So Jaimini's idea is do good karma and stay on the top of the karma pile. Never, and keep on doing good, so never go down. Sounds like they are all coming with a good idea, no? Result of good karma will be finished. But that doesn't matter. Again, go on doing good karma, he suggests. So good result will await you in heaven. You will be happy life. If anything is friendly to you, it's your karma. There is God, but he is indifferent. He is bound to serve you either good or bad according to your karma. He has no independence. See how they establish Krishna's position. Then another idea comes. Philosophy of that Buddha. I don't want to directly mention that. It's only the combination of different things. Not only Buddhism, Jainism. I mean, I can literally say, I have done research. I have a page after page on those theory. And it's very satisfying in a sense that how Krishna consciousness, such a high elevation compared to all this philosophy. Only the combination of different things has created your mental system. This is Buddhism boils down to 9 principles. And Srila Prabhupada writes in the purport that anybody wants to be a successful devotee and preach this movement must understand this Buddhism also. Means we have to understand all this concept of philosophy. They exist and they're expanding also side by side. But somehow we must dissolve the mental system. This is Buddha's philosophy. Practice, so if you say how I'm going to dissolve, say practice ahimsa. Ahimsa milk. Now the Hare Krishna also adapted ahimsa milk. Non-violence, satta, truthfulness, so on. This is their sadhana. It is seen that all these philosophy are talking either of renunciation or exploitation. If it really boils down, because I'm very scrutinizing these things, the bhakti is devoid of renunciation and exploitation, karma and gyan. And all these 6 philosophy, either one of these 2, period. But I have come to realize what? These fellows all are cheaters. Because the soul in this deplorable conditioned life, they are helpless. And they all have come with this common stand that they have no touch of pure bhakti. None of these 6 philosophy gives pure bhakti. But it sounds like they are all spiritual. Just like when Jain followers, he is very thorough. I mentioned that one time before. He's a diamond businessman, so good friend. One day we were talking, and after 2 hours, he says, well, we believe transmigration. I said, then what is the philosophy after that? He said, the mental system keep on growing. To what point? To it's dissolved completely. I said, then what happened to I, the soul? Well, the soul is with the mental system. I said, so the soul is also dissolved? Say, yes. I said, that's atheistic. It's not even religion. You're taking the religious path to establish there is no soul, no eternal existence. And this is what scares, that most of the people don't go deep down. And it's very scary, but outside looks all good. It's really frightening, so, when you really go deep down. So ultimately, what they do, they leave us, this philosophy leaves us in chaos. And there are millions and billions of people are following this. But from the ultimate standpoint, I see that they are agent engaged by Krishna. Krishna permit them. Why? Segregate the seriously diseased person to another world for the good of the less serious disease patients. And I mentioned this before many times. I had one employee before I had a shop, Arjuna, a very good employee. And one day he got his finger cut while he was closing a jewelry case. The glass fell. So I went to emergency with him because, I want to take care of him. And we had to wait for like 6 hours in emergency because his finger cut is not as important as other patients. So you have to allow whoever is more serious. Then after waiting for 2 hours, I saw one lady just came in and they just immediately let her go in one room. And I could not take it. I went to the reception. I said, how could you do this injustice to me? I have work and I get up early morning to do my spiritual practice. And I'm here for like so many hours. And you just let this lady just pass? Then she explained that this lady has such a contagious disease. If she even breathes nearby you, you will be hospitalized immediately. I got so scared. I said, really? Okay, I'm glad you did that. Thank you. So I use that analogy. Everything in my life, I use that analogy. All these people, all this philosophy, Mayavadi, they are separating the demoniac nature type of people away from innocent public. And Prabhupada says demoniac nature or atheistic nature is like a 5% thorn in a rose garden. You don't offer a thorn. Haribol Mataji, Haribol, here is some thorn for you. Nobody ever did that, I hope. You don't offer. Thorn is not offerable. But you pluck the flower. Prabhupada said the majorities are innocent, 96%, they are majority human beings are innocent. They don't know the real truth. So they are like a small flower. You can pluck them and offer it to Krishna. So I use that logic, Bhaktivinoda Thakur's explanation. They all have a purpose why those philosophies are sanctioned by Krishna, to divert those demoniac nature away from the innocent public, so that innocent people can stay complete for the Hare Krishna people to take them to Krishna consciousness. Otherwise, if the demoniac nature would take the Krishna consciousness and they would exploit, it would be difficult. And that's what Sahajiya did before Bhaktivinoda Thakur. So from that angle, and this is the end of the sixth philosophy in a shorter version. You don't need to know more than that. But Bhaktivinoda Thakur did write that, if I can remember, Bhaktivinoda Thakur did write something that Vyasdev, no, Baladev Vidyabhushan Thakur, he quoted actually that Vyasdev actually intertwined all these six philosophy because people are affected with it. And six philosophy, what it does, it gives you the strength and the weakness of your spiritual practice. Because we all have some weakness. We are attracted by the opposite, sense gratification. So we have some weakness and then we have a strength. We love Krishna conscious philosophy, or we love Krishna conscious prasadam, or we love Krishna conscious this concept or preaching or something. So we have a strength and we have a weakness. And according to that, you can actually use this analogy that how Vyasdev actually made this six philosophy through the Bhagavatam and made the bhakti superior to all those six philosophy. So it is good to know this. Now we'll go back to our conversation. Is there anyone has any question or comment? Because it's 6:44, I don't want to ignore that. Yes, Makhancha Prabhu.
Yes, a long time back, during a time when I was just getting acquainted with debating, and when you engage in preaching, you also sometimes get all kinds of people to actually that you fall into a debate. And if you know the six philosophies, and if you can find out which category does this person belong to, then you can actually defeat that person.
Very good. Very true. It happened to me many times.
Yeah.
All these people are affected by these six philosophy, whether in America or India or anywhere in the world.
Yeah.
Yes, very good. So maybe we should have a little conversation, a discussion on these six philosophy in 6 classes thoroughly, so devotee can grasp it, because they exist. It exists whether we know or not. Everybody is affected by those. Thank you for bringing that. Someone else? Otherwise, we'll just discuss a little more. Okay, no one else. So then question come, is karma, the separate existence, is beginningless or it has a beginning? Now we generally think, yes, Prabhu.
It is temporary. It's not permanent.
Okay.
So it has a beginning and it has an end.
It appears that way, that is true. The root of all karma, is desire, is the desire to perform karma. And the root cause of all the desires is ignorance, avidya. So avidya is forgetfulness of the truth. Avidya means forgetfulness of the truth. I am an eternal servant of Krishna. It does not have its origin in mundane time. So rather it originates in the Tatastha region. That Mother Vishnupriya made this a picture other day showing that you are manifested in the Tatastha region and you have a choice to look at the material side or spiritual side. So it began, the karma actually began, the desire to be attracted by the allure activities of Maya, it began from there. So that's why karma does not have its beginning in mundane time. Is therefore called beginningless. You are right, it looks like temporary, that as soon Attantiki Pralay, when the soul is purified and going back, karma is finished. But this desire to enjoy separately from Krishna is also beginningless. Because it began before the time that we think of time. Is that okay, Prabhu? Thank you. So then there is another question. What is the difference between Maya and ignorance? Are they both same? Or Maya is a person or Maya is a matter? What is it? Maya is a Shakti of Krishna. Sri Krishna has created the material universe through her, has instigated her to purify the living entity who are averse to Krishna. Maya has two aspects, avidya, ignorance, and pradhan, means the material ingredients. The two aspects Maya has. Avidya is related to living entity, us. Whereas pradhan, the material, which is origin is before Mahatattva. Mahatattva means when the three modes actually explode, it's called Mahatattva. But before that, it was pradhan, material elements. So whereas the living entity desire to perform, okay, let's go back again. Whereas pradhan is related to the inert matter. The entire inert matter, mundane world has originated from pradhan. Whereas the living entity's desire to perform the material activity originates in avidya. Everybody is with me? There's a two concept. There are also two other division of Maya. One is vidya, knowledge, another is avidya, ignorance. Both of which are related to the living being, the living entity. So avidya, ignorance, binds the living being with the rope of Raja and Tama, and vidya liberates them. The faculty of avidya keeps working as long as offensive living entity continues to forget Krishna. But when he becomes favorable to Krishna, this replaced by the faculty of vidya, Brahma Gyan, Brahmabhuta stage, so on, are particular activity of the tendency for knowledge, vidya vritti. Like in the beginning stage, we hear about the class, we chant, this beginning. Then first thing in our first installment in our bhakti, actually, it destroys the Rajagun and Tamagun activities. Tamagun's activities destroyed. Rajagun, everybody is born in Rajagun in this material world right now, in this middle planetary system. When we regulate the Rajagun, then automatically it goes to Sattvagun. Just like we get up in the morning, we chant, means Sattvagun going. When we don't regulate, it goes to tamogun. Rajagun is flickering, it's not a fixed. So Brahmagyan and all this particular activity of the tendency for knowledge, when discrimination first develop by hearing Krishna, by chanting, discrimination has to develop. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur quote this verse, Falgu Jukta Baddha Mukta Nahiko Bhaviyo Ekakar Sab. Don't think everything is same. We must have a discrimination, what will bind me, what will liberate me. This has to be always there. Otherwise, we will be never get out of avidya to vidya. So when discrimination first develops, the living entity tries to engage in auspicious activity. When discrimination has matured, spiritual knowledge manifests. So avidya covers jiva, vidya removes the covering. So somebody may say, then what is the function of the matter, dead matter? This is, we're talking about the living entity. What the dead matter has anything to do with it? When Krishna endeavors represented by time, Kala Purusha, then it stimulates Maya Prakriti. It first creates unmanifested aggregate of the material elements, Mahatattva. And you all are aware, I'm sure, from Mahatattva, Drabha, the matter, is created by the stimulation of faculty, Maya, called Pradhan. Then false ego is born from the transformation of Mahatattva, and space created from a tamasic ignorance, transformation of false ego. Air is created from transformation of space. Fire is created from transformation of air. Water is then created from transformation of fire. Earth is created by the transformation of water. And the list goes on, that whole creation took place. There are two types of senses, knowledge acquiring Gyanendriya, Karmendriya. This is also took place. There's just like, for an example, I give you a good example. I'm seeing now Makonchu Prabhu through the Zoom. How do I see? Now Rajagun created, how three modes playing here. Rajagun created my eyes, but eyes are there, that doesn't mean I see him. Eye has to have a perceiving ability. To perceive that is there, seeing ability, that comes from the Sattvagun. So Sattvagun has to be there with the Rajagun. Rajagun created this. Now the object, the matter, a screen or material element, is product of Tamagun. And you see, all three is helping me to see. Now when we are connecting all three modes right here, or say I'm hearing, or you are hearing me, how you hear? You have a ear. This ear is product of Rajagun. But the Rajagun is only manifesting, but it cannot be visible unless Sattvagun is there. Sattvagun holds the object, and Rajagun manifests the object. So sound is coming, the fire is carrying this air and going through the ear to the drum, and to the drum to the brain cell. Contacting the brain is operating the whole system of the ear. Now here how the three modes are playing role. The sound system, sound vibration is product of Tamagun. All sense objects are product of Tamagun. The sound, but of course it is Krishna consciousness, so that it is beyond. It is not Tamagun anymore, it's purified now. But the sound or any sense object, Tamagun, is carried by Rajagun, but then the hearing perception is Sattvagun. Just like to see him is not enough. The light, Sattvagun, has to back up and also give me the seeing ability. So three modes is playing every moment in our everything. Whether we are thinking or doing anything, three modes are playing role. If we can connect all three with Krishna, then it is spiritualized. As simple as this. Now, another question may come. How much human body whose size is 3.5 cubit. This is called 1 cubit from the hand to here, elbow. So if everybody, you will see 3.5 size. How tall are you? You measure the cubit and then you can measure the rest of the body. Is occupied by the subtle body. How much of this physical body is occupied by the subtle body? You know, the physical body is limited by this world. The subtle body expands from heaven to hell, not above heaven, as an intelligent body, different body. But the subtle body, this kabar, the mental system, is connected from heaven to hell. The 5 gross elements, 5 sense object, pancha tanmatra in Sanskrit they call. The 10 sense all together comprise this gross body, physical body. The 4 elements, mind, intelligence, chitta, the heart, and ahankar, form the subtle body, linga sharira. Actually 6.1.52 in the Bhagavatam, Prabhupada also write, there is a 16 elements made this subtle body. This is the only place I found. Nowhere, everywhere I find 3 or 4 elements. But Bhagavatam Sukdev Goswami says there is a 16 elements made the subtle body. The consciousness living entity is the only who falsely relate to the body and objects related to the body as I and mine. Due to that misidentification, has forgotten his true nature. He is extremely subtle and beyond mundane sphere, time and qualities. In spite of being very subtle, he pervades the entire body. The soul to the consciousness pervades the entire body. In the beginning of the class, I mentioned that our original form is like Krishna's form, but in a minute, very minute. Yasagrasata bhagusya, you know that verse. Yasagrasata bhagusya, that how minute it is. It's almost impossible to measure, but it is part of that supreme consciousness, its spirit, and it's vibrant, and it's dominate this. And demarcation that no connection with the another body or another conscious being is made by the Paramatma, super soul. That's why super soul should be seen in this body with me. And if you can see both, then you are liberated instantly. Madhacharya says, Prabhupada promote this. And then question comes, the living entity perform karma, experience pain, pleasure. Where is the question of Ishvara's or Krishna's active involvement? In a very short way to say it, living entity is the instrumental cause. When he performs karma, Ishvara acts as an efficient cause and arranges for the fruits of karma, and the living entity is eligible to enjoy. Ishvara also arrange for the future karma for which living entity become eligible. In short, living entity gets the rewarded by the Lord as a fruit giver, you can say, and living entity enjoys. How many types of living entity we'll discuss tomorrow, and we'll begin how the relief from this. So in the beginning we discuss, just to catch up, everybody remember the 6th point. You must write it down and keep it with you. The 6th point from those verses, Madhya-lila 20.108, all those slokas I mentioned. First point is, we'll finish with this note, that we are atom of light in the effulgent ray of spiritual Son, Sri Krishna. Second is, we are atomic by nature, but we have our inherent value. We have our inherent purpose and knowledge. 3, we have a drop of spiritual bliss, bindu chidgata ananda. We always have a bliss, but it's bindu, very minute. Then number 4, that we have originally a spiritual form, not that we will become something. We already going to discover who we are. We don't become someone. We already have a spiritual particle, the chitkam. Even though that form is atomic, but it still looks like Sri Krishna's form, human-like form, like that. Then we cannot see the form. That is our misfortune. This is number 5. Number 6 is that it is important to ask and understand why and how we are suffering. So I'll end with this here. If any reflection, question, otherwise we'll close it and begin tomorrow again. Any discussion? Chitta is the heart and mind is the reflection of the heart. Everybody understand the question of Vigyan Prabhu here is asking, what is the difference between heart and the mind? In a simple way to say, it's like I'm seeing myself. What is going on in the heart, you look at in the mind. Cheta Darpana Marjanam, in that sense that why mind is the issue, and Mahaprabhu suggested we should purify the heart, not the mind. Why it is like this? Because mind, heart is getting inflicted by the three modes, and how it is getting affected is reflecting in the mirror. Like, how do I look like? Look at in the mirror. Or did my putti look nicely? Look at in the mirror. Is mirror doing something not in the face? No. So mind and heart are same and thus not same. One is showing what is in the heart, and what heart means where the thinking, willing, feeling are affected by the mouth. Is that okay? Any other? No? Looks like everybody is convinced. That's very nice. That's convinced me. Thank you so much for giving this opportunity to serve you all. And we'll see you all tomorrow. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Vancha kalpatarubhasya kripa sindhuvayavata. Patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah. Antagadi Vaishnava Binda ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Iskon Guru Binda ki jai, Gaur.
Hare Krishna. Thank you everybody for joining today. Tomorrow again we'll have the class from 4 to 6 p.m. So everybody can join. Also this coming Sunday we have a Pujari training at the temple from 10 to 12 in the morning at the temple. You all can come and take part, whoever would like to learn how to serve Sri Sri Radha Radhakanta as Pujaris, different aspects of Pujari. So you can come and take part in this. So thank you very much. Hare Krishna.